Have you ever wondered what truly captures someone's attention when they look at you? Is it your smile, your style, or something deeper that even you might not fully realize? What if I told you there's a secret world of perception happening all around you? Hidden signals, quiet observations, and unspoken admiration that goes far beyond what meets the eye. Today we're diving into one of the most empowering truths. Women, you have no idea what men notice about you. And by the end of this video, you'll see yourself in a way you've never seen before. A reward worth every second of your time. Let's start with an uncomfortable truth. Most women spend hours worrying about how they appear to others. Their hair, their clothes, their makeup, their body language. As if these external details are the ultimate measure of their worth. But here's the thing, while you're busy doubting yourself, focusing on flaws only you can see, the people around you are noticing something entirely different. They don't see imperfections, they see you. The real you. The version of you that radiates confidence, kindness, and strength without even trying. So why is it so hard for us to believe that? Why do we let self-doubt cloud our vision when the rest of the world sees clarity? The answer lies in human psychology. As humans, we're wired to focus on what we think is wrong with us because evolution taught us to fix problems to survive. But here's the twist. Survival doesn't define success anymore. In today's world, success comes from embracing who you are, not fixing who you aren't. When you step back and stop obsessing over minor details, you begin to understand that people, yes, including men, are drawn to qualities far deeper than surface-level appearances. These are the things they remember long after the moment has passed. Think about the last time you felt truly confident. Maybe it was during a presentation at work, a conversation where you spoke your mind, or simply walking down the street feeling unstoppable. Did you know that energy, the quiet hum of self-assurance, is magnetic? It pulls people in without them even realizing it. Confidence isn't loud. It's subtle. It's the way you carry yourself, the calmness in your voice, the spark in your eyes. And guess what? That's exactly what men notice first. Not whether your outfit matches perfectly or if your hair is flawless, but the undeniable presence of someone who knows their worth. But here's the kicker. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. Every single person, regardless of gender, struggles with moments of doubt. The difference between those who shine and those who fade into the background isn't talent or looks. It's mindset. It's choosing to rise above fear and embrace possibility. You already possess everything you need to command attention and respect. You just have to unlock it. And that's precisely what we're going to explore together. So as we move forward, I want you to keep one thought in mind. You are more than enough for yourself, more than enough for the people around you, and certainly more than enough to leave a lasting impression on anyone who crosses your path. By the time this video ends, you'll discover specific insights about what men truly notice about you, and trust me, it's not what you expect. This isn't just another motivational talk, it's a journey toward reclaiming your power, bolder version of yourself. Stay with me until the very end, because the final piece of wisdom will tie it all together in a way that changes how you see yourself forever. Are you ready? Let's dive in. You've been told 1,000 times to be confident, but no one ever explains how exhausting it feels to fake confidence when you're drowning in self-doubt. Let's face it, there are days when you feel like the mirror reflects everything you're not, rather than everything you are. Maybe it's the way your mind fixates on that one tiny flaw, or the voice inside your head whispering, "You're not enough." But here's the truth. Everyone has those moments, even the people who seem so put together. The difference isn't that they don't feel doubt. It's that they choose to move forward despite it. And today, you're going to learn how to do the same. Self-doubt is sneaky. It creeps in when you least expect it, planting seeds of insecurity that grow faster than you can pull them out. But let's pause for a moment and ask ourselves, why do we give doubt so much power? Why do we let it dictate how we carry ourselves, how we speak, or how we show up in the world? Here's what science tells us about doubt. It's not just a random emotion. It's a survival mechanism, left over from ancient time. Back then, questioning yourself kept you safe from danger. But now, Doubt often holds you back from opportunities, connections, and moments where you could truly shine. What if you could take that energy, the energy you waste worrying, and redirect it towards something greater? The key lies in understanding this. Men notice strength. They notice resilience. When you walk into a room and own your space, not because you're flawless, but because you refuse to shrink, you command attention. Think about the women you admire most. Is it their perfection that inspires you, or is it their ability to rise above challenges, to laugh at themselves, to keep moving forward even when life gets messy? That's what leaves an impression. People aren't looking for someone who pretends to have it all figured out. They're drawn to authenticity wrapped in courage. Now imagine flipping the script on self-doubt. Instead of letting it control you, use it as fuel. Every time you catch yourself thinking, I'm not good enough, counter it with action. Stand taller, speak louder, smile wider. These small shifts may feel insignificant, but they add up. Psychology shows us that our physical actions influence our mental state. When you act confidently, even if you don't feel it yet, your brain starts believing it. Over time, those little choices stack up, creating a version of you that doesn't just survive, but thrives. Here's another layer to consider: vulnerability. Yes, vulnerability, the thing you've probably spent years trying to hide, is actually one of the most attractive qualities anyone can possess. Men notice when you're real with them, when you let your guard down just enough to show the cracks beneath the surface. It takes immense strength to be vulnerable, and that strength is magnetic. When you stop hiding behind perfection and instead embrace your humanity, you give others permission to do the same. Suddenly, connection becomes deeper, relationships become richer, and the world starts responding to you differently. But none of this happens overnight. Building confidence isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. Some days will feel easier than others, and that's okay. Growth isn't linear. It's messy, unpredictable, and beautiful. The important part is showing up anyway, even on the hard days. Even when you don't feel like it, choosing to step into your power sends a message to the universe. I am here, and I am unstoppable. That energy doesn't go unnoticed. In fact, it changes the way people perceive you entirely. As you continue listening, remember this: every woman who has ever made an impact didn't start out fearless. She started out scared, unsure, and full of questions, but she chose to keep going anyway. You can too. Confidence isn't reserved for the chosen few. It's available to anyone willing to claim it. And the best part? Once you begin unlocking this side of yourself, you'll realize that the opinions of others matter less than you thought. Because deep down, you'll know exactly who you are, and that's more than enough to light up any room you walk into. Keep listening, because there's so much more waiting for you ahead. Confidence may light the spark, but perception fans the flames. Think about it. How you see yourself shapes how others see you. It's like a mirror, reflecting not just your outer appearance, but your inner world. When you start believing in your worth, that belief radiates outward, influencing how people interpret your presence. This isn't magic, it's psychology. Humans are wired to pick up on subtle cues: energy, body language, tone of voice, and they use these signals to form impressions faster than you might realize. So, what does this mean for you? It means the way you carry yourself tells a story, and men and everyone else are listening. Let's talk about stories for a moment. Every person has one, including you. Your story is made up of experiences, choices, and moments that define who you are. But here's the catch. Too often we let others write our narrative for us. We allow society, past relationships, or even fleeting comments from strangers to dictate how we feel about ourselves. And when we do that, we give away our power. The truth is, only you get to decide what your story says. If you want to be seen as strong, kind, resilient, or captivating, then step into those roles fully. People don't just notice what you look like. They notice how you make them feel. And when you take ownership of your story, you create feelings of admiration, respect, and inspiration in those around you. Now imagine walking into a room knowing this. You're not there to impress anyone. You're there to express yourself. There's a difference. Impressing someone requires effort, trying to mold yourself into what you think they want. Expressing yourself, on the other hand, is effortless because it comes from within. It's authentic. It's raw. It's unapologetically you. And guess what? That authenticity is magnetic. Men aren't looking for perfection, they're looking for connection. They're drawn to women who know who they are and aren't afraid to show it. Confidence gets their attention, but authenticity keeps it. This brings us to another powerful concept: energy. You've probably heard the phrase, energy speaks louder than words. And it couldn't be truer. Words can lie, but energy never does. Have you ever met someone who didn't say much, yet their presence filled the room? Or someone whose smile seemed to brighten everything around them? That's energy at work. It's intangible yet undeniable. And here's the secret: your energy is entirely within your control. When you wake up each day, you choose the vibe you bring into the world. Will it be heavy with self-doubt and hesitation, or will it be light, positive, and unstoppable? The choice is yours, and men notice the difference immediately. Think about the last time you felt truly aligned with yourself, the kind of alignment where everything clicks and you move through life with purpose. Chances are you weren't overthinking what others thought of you. Instead, you were focused on what mattered most to you. That focus creates clarity, and clarity attracts admiration. When you live intentionally, prioritizing your passions, values, and goals, you naturally draw people toward you. They see the fire in your eyes, the determination in your steps, and the joy in your laughter. Those qualities resonate far more deeply than any outfit or hairstyle ever could. But let's address something important. Being intentional doesn't mean ignoring your emotions or pretending everything is fine when it's not. Life throws curveballs, and sometimes you'll feel off balance. That's part of being human. What matters is how you respond. Do you let setbacks define you, or do you rise above them? Rising above doesn't mean suppressing pain. It means acknowledging it, learning from it, and using it to grow stronger. When you handle challenges with grace, you send a message to the world. I am capable, I am resilient, I am worthy. And trust me, men pick up on that strength without even realizing it. So as you reflect on this idea of perception and how it shapes interactions, remember this: the lens through which you view yourself becomes the lens through which others see you. If you believe you're confident, authentic, and radiant, others will see you that way too. If you doubt yourself, that doubt will seep into your energy and affect how people respond to you. Perception is powerful, but it starts with you. By shifting the way you think about yourself, you shift the way the world reacts to you. And that's not just empowering, it's transformative. Keep going, because there's still so much more waiting for you to discover. Let's talk about the things you don't think matter, but they do. The little moments, the quiet gestures, the seemingly insignificant details that often go unnoticed by you, but leave a lasting impression on others. Have you ever smiled at someone across the room without overthinking it? Or held the door open for a stranger with genuine kindness? Maybe you listened intently during a conversation, making them feel heard in a way they hadn't in years. These small acts might feel ordinary to you, but to the person on the receiving end, they're extraordinary. And yes, men notice these things more than you realize. Human connection thrives on subtlety. We live in a world obsessed with grand gestures and flashy displays, yet the most meaningful interactions are often the simplest ones. A warm smile can brighten someone's day. Eye contact, real intentional eye contact, can make someone feel seen in a way words never could. Even something as effortless as nodding while someone speaks communicates respect and attentiveness. These aren't just polite habits. They're powerful tools that shape how people perceive you. When you give your full presence to the moment, you create an invisible thread of trust and admiration that lingers long after the moment has passed. Think about the people who've left the biggest impact on your life. Chances are, it wasn't their accomplishments or status that drew you to them. It was how they made you feel. They listened when you needed to be heard. They showed up when you least expected it. They paid attention to the details others overlooked. Now imagine being that person for someone else. Imagine knowing that your smallest actions carry weight, that your presence alone has the power to uplift and inspire. This is where true influence lies, not in trying to prove yourself, but in simply showing up as your best, most authentic self. Kindness is another force that quietly shapes perception. It's easy to underestimate its value, especially in a society that often equates success with toughness or ambition. But kindness isn't weakness, it's strength wrapped in compassion. When you choose kindness, you signal to the world that you're secure enough in yourself to lift others up. Men, like everyone else, are drawn to this quality because it signals emotional intelligence and empathy. These traits aren't just admirable, they're rare. In a fast-paced, often disconnected world, kindness stands out. It creates ripples that extend far beyond the initial interaction, leaving a mark on everyone it touches. And then there's consistency, the quiet power of showing up the same way, day after day. You don't have to be perfect to be consistent, you just have to be dependable. When you treat people with respect, offer your time generously, and lead with integrity, you build a reputation that speaks for itself. People start associating you with positivity, reliability, and warmth. These associations may seem small, but they add up to something monumental: trust. Trust is the foundation of every meaningful relationship, whether personal or professional. And trust begins with those tiny, thoughtful actions you might not even think twice about. Here's the beautiful part. None of this requires drastic changes. You don't need to reinvent yourself or adopt some polished persona. All you need to do is lean into what already exists within you: the ability to connect, to care, to show up authentically. When you embrace these qualities, you become unforgettable. Not because you're striving to stand out, but because you're simply being you. That's the irony of it all. The less you try to impress, the more you naturally attract admiration. So keep going, because the deeper we dive, the clearer it becomes just how remarkable you truly are. Authenticity is the heartbeat of connection, and it's what makes you unforgettable. There's something profoundly magnetic about someone who refuses to dim their light for anyone else's comfort. Think about it. When was the last time you met someone who wasn't afraid to be themselves? Someone who didn't try to fit into a mold or chase perfection, but instead embraced their quirks, flaws, and all. That person stayed with you, didn't they? Because authenticity doesn't just catch attention, it holds it. And men notice this more than anything else. The courage to show up as your true self. The truth is, no one expects you to have it all figured out. Life is messy, unpredictable, and beautifully imperfect, and so are you. Yet so many women spend years trying to smooth out the edges, believing that if they look perfect, act perfect, or say all the right things, they'll finally be enough. But here's the irony. Perfection isn't relatable. It doesn't inspire trust or create deep bonds. What does? Realness, vulnerability. The willingness to let people see the unfiltered version of you, the one that laughs at silly jokes, gets emotional during heartfelt moments, and isn't afraid to admit when she's wrong. When you stop hiding behind masks and start owning every part of who you are, you give others permission to do the same. That kind of energy is rare, and it leaves an indelible mark on everyone around you. Now, let's talk about why embracing authenticity feels so hard sometimes. Society has spent centuries telling women how they should behave, dress, and speak. From magazine covers to social media feeds, we're bombarded with images of what ideal looks like. But here's the secret. Those ideals aren't real. They're curated, edited, and designed to make you feel like you're falling short. The moment you realize this, that comparison is a game rigged against you, you free yourself from its grip. You begin to understand that your worth isn't tied to how closely you resemble someone else's version of beauty or success. Your worth comes from within, from the unique story only you can tell. When you choose authenticity over conformity, something incredible happens. You attract the right people into your life. Men and everyone else are drawn to those who radiate confidence in their individuality. Why? Because authenticity signals strength. It says, I know who I am and I'm not afraid to own it. That level of self-assurance is intoxicating because it reminds others of their own potential. It inspires them to step into their truth too. Suddenly, relationships become deeper, connections become richer, and interactions feel more meaningful. All because you decided to stop shrinking and start shining. But embracing authenticity isn't just about attracting admiration. It's about living a life aligned with your values. When you show up as your true self, you invite opportunities, experiences, and relationships that reflect the core of who you are. You stop wasting energy pretending to be someone you're not, and start channeling that energy into becoming the best version of yourself. This shift creates a ripple effect. The way you carry yourself changes. The way people respond to you changes. Even the way you view challenges shifts, from obstacles to stepping stones. Authenticity transforms not just how others see you, but how you see yourself. Let's pause for a moment and reflect on this. The most admired women throughout history weren't celebrated for being flawless. They were celebrated for being bold, daring, and unapologetically themselves. Whether it's a trailblazer breaking barriers, an artist creating without fear of judgment, or a friend showing up with unwavering loyalty, these women didn't wait for approval. They earned respect by staying true to their essence. And you can do the same. Every time you choose authenticity, even in small ways, you build a foundation of self-respect that becomes unshakable. Remember this. The world doesn't need another copycat. It needs you, fully, unapologetically, uniquely you. When you embrace that truth, you unlock a power that goes beyond external validation. You tap into a wellspring of confidence that no one can take away from you. So as you continue listening, keep this in mind. The journey to being unforgettable starts with one decision. The decision to stop hiding and start embracing every part of who you are. Because when you shine your light, you illuminate not just your path, but the paths of everyone lucky enough to cross yours. Keep going, because there's still so much more waiting for you to discover. Strength isn't always loud, sometimes it whispers. It shows up in the moments when you think no one is watching, when you choose to keep going despite the weight on your shoulders, or when you face fear head on, even though your hands are trembling. These quiet acts of courage don't scream for attention, but they leave an imprint that lingers long after the moment has passed. And men? They notice this kind of strength more than you might realize. Not because they're searching for it, but because it's impossible to ignore. Think about the women you admire most. The ones who seem unshakable, untouchable, unstoppable. What makes them stand out isn't their ability to avoid struggle. It's their willingness to confront it. Life throws challenges at everyone, but what sets these women apart is how they respond. They don't wait for storms to pass, they learn to dance in the rain. They understand that true strength isn't about never falling, it's about rising every time you do. And here's the secret. This resilience isn't something you're born with. It's something you cultivate day by day, choice by choice. Now, let's talk about vulnerability for a moment. Not as a weakness, but as a form of courage. Opening yourself up to uncertainty, to rejection, to the possibility of failure takes immense bravery. It's easier to build walls than to let people in, but those walls also block out connection, growth, and love. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you send a powerful message. I am strong enough to face whatever comes my way. Men see this. They recognize the quiet determination behind your willingness to take emotional risks. Vulnerability doesn't make you fragile, it makes you fearless. And that fearlessness is magnetic. But here's the thing about strength. It doesn't have to look like saving the world or achieving monumental feats. Sometimes it looks like waking up on a hard day and deciding to put one foot in front of the other. It looks like standing firm in your values, even when others disagree. It looks like apologizing when you're wrong or forgiving someone who hurt you. These everyday acts of courage may feel small to you, but they ripple outward, shaping how people perceive you. Strength isn't about grand gestures. It's about consistency. It's showing up again and again, even when it's uncomfortable. Let's not forget the role self-compassion plays in building strength. Too often we hold ourselves to impossible standards, punishing ourselves for mistakes while celebrating the successes of others. But real strength begins with treating yourself with kindness. Imagine speaking to yourself the way you'd speak to a dear friend, offering encouragement instead of criticism, patience instead of frustration. When you practice self-compassion, you create a foundation of inner stability. You become less reactive to external pressures and more grounded in your sense of self. This balance radiates outward, drawing people toward your calm, centered energy. And then there's the power of perspective. Challenges will come. This is inevitable. But how you frame them makes all the difference. Instead of seeing obstacles as roadblocks, view them as opportunities to grow. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How will this make me stronger? This mindset shift doesn't just help you navigate difficulties, it transforms the way others see you. They see someone who refuses to be defeated, someone who turns setbacks into comebacks, and who is, oh, so deep. That kind of grit commands respect, admiration, and loyalty. Here's the truth. Strength isn't about proving anything to anyone else. It's about proving something to yourself. Every time you push past doubt, embrace discomfort, or rise above fear, you reinforce your belief in your own capabilities. You remind yourself that you are capable of far more than you ever imagined. And when you embody that belief, others can't help but notice. They see it in the way you carry yourself, in the quiet confidence that says, "I've been through fire and I'm still standing." So, as you continue on this journey, remember this: strength isn't something you find, it's something you build. It grows in the spaces where you least expect it, in the moments where you dig deep and discover reservoirs of courage you didn't know existed. When you choose to live boldly, authentically, and resiliently, you inspire those around you to do the same. You become a beacon of hope, a reminder that strength isn't about being fearless, it's about moving forward anyway. Keep listening, because the path to unlocking your full potential is just beginning. Intelligence is the quiet force that changes everything. It's not about how much you know or how many degrees hang on your wall. It's about the way you think, the questions you ask, and the curiosity that drives you to keep learning. When you walk into a room with a sharp mind and an open heart, you don't just command attention, you earn respect. And men, they notice this more than you might expect. Not because they're analyzing your IQ, but because intelligence has a way of lighting up a space. It sparks conversations, inspires ideas, and creates connections that go far beyond surface-level interactions. Think about the people who leave a lasting impression on you. Is it their ability to recite facts, or is it the way they make you feel smarter, more curious, more alive? Intelligence isn't just about knowledge, it's about presence. It's the way you listen intently, process deeply, and respond thoughtfully. It's the spark in your eyes when you talk about something you're passionate about. It's the confidence that comes from knowing you have the power to solve problems, navigate challenges, and adapt to whatever life throws your way. These qualities don't just draw people in, they keep them engaged. Because intelligence, in its truest form, is magnetic. Now let's talk about passion. Intelligence shines brightest when it's paired with purpose. When you pour your energy into the things that set your soul on fire, whether it's a career, a hobby, or a cause you believe in, you radiate a kind of brilliance that can't be ignored. Passion fuels intelligence, giving it direction and meaning. It transforms abstract ideas into tangible action. And here's the thing: men aren't just attracted to passion, they're inspired by it. They see someone who knows what they want, who chases their dreams with determination, and who refuses to settle for anything less than extraordinary. That kind of drive is intoxicating because it reminds others of their own potential. But intelligence isn't static. It's a muscle that grows stronger with use. Every time you challenge yourself to learn something new, to step outside your comfort zone, or to approach a problem from a different angle, you expand your capacity for growth. You become more adaptable, more resourceful, more resilient. And these traits don't just benefit you, they influence the people around you. When you embrace lifelong learning, you create a ripple effect. You inspire others to ask better questions, seek deeper understanding, and strive for excellence in their own lives. Intelligence isn't just personal, it's communal. Let's pause for a moment and acknowledge this. Society often tries to box women into roles that downplay their intellect. From outdated stereotypes to subtle biases, there are forces working against you that try to silence your voice or dismiss your ideas. But here's the truth: your mind is your greatest asset. It's the tool that allows you to innovate, to lead, to create change. When you refuse to let anyone else define your worth, you reclaim your power. You prove that intelligence isn't something to be hidden or minimized. It's something to be celebrated. And when you do that, you rewrite the narrative, not just for yourself, but for every woman who comes after you. Here's another layer to consider: emotional intelligence. While intellectual intelligence gets much of the spotlight, emotional intelligence is equally, if not more important. It's the ability to understand yourself, connect with others, and navigate relationships with empathy and grace. When you combine intellectual sharpness with emotional depth, you become unstoppable. You can read a room, diffuse tension, and build bridges where others see walls. Men notice this balance because it signals maturity, self-awareness, and the ability to handle life's complexities with poise. Emotional intelligence doesn't just enhance your relationships, it elevates your entire presence. And then there's the beauty of perspective. Intelligent minds don't just absorb information, they question it, analyze it, and synthesize it into something meaningful. They see patterns where others see chaos, opportunities where others see obstacles. This ability to reframe situations gives you a unique edge in life. It allows you to approach challenges with creativity and optimism, turning setbacks into stepping stones. When you embody this mindset, you naturally attract people who value depth over superficiality. You become someone others look to for guidance, inspiration, and insight. So as you reflect on the power of intelligence, remember this. It's not about being the smartest person in the room. It's about using your mind to make the world brighter, better, and more connected. When you prioritize growth, curiosity, and purpose, you unlock a version of yourself that leaves a lasting legacy. You become unforgettable. Not because you tried to be, but because your brilliance couldn't help but shine through. Keep going, because the journey to unleashing your full potential is only getting started. Your body language speaks before you ever say a word. It's the silent language of confidence, grace, and intention, a language that everyone around you understands, even if they don't realize it. The way you carry yourself tells a story, and men are listening closely. Do you walk into a room like you own it? Or do you shrink into the background, hoping no one notices? Here's the truth. How you hold yourself doesn't just affect how others see you, it shapes how you feel about yourself. When you master your presence, you unlock a power that transforms not only how you're perceived, but how you experience the world. Think about the last time you saw someone who commanded a room effortlessly. Was it their words that captivated you, or was it something deeper? Their posture, their energy, the way they seemed completely at ease in their own skin. Confidence isn't just an attitude, it's a physical state. Science shows us that standing tall with your shoulders back, chin slightly raised, and feet planted firmly on the ground triggers a psychological shift. Your brain starts to believe what your body is signaling. I am strong, I am capable, I belong here. This isn't just theory, it's biology. And when you embody this mindset, others can't help but respond to it. But let's be clear, carrying yourself with confidence doesn't mean pretending to be someone you're not. It's not about strutting around or trying to dominate a space. True presence comes from authenticity. It's about aligning your outer self with your inner truth, letting your actions reflect the strength and wisdom you already possess. When you move through life with purpose, every step becomes deliberate, every gesture intentional. You stop fidgeting, stop second-guessing, and start owning the space you occupy. And here's the magic. When you show up fully, people notice. They may not be able to articulate why, but they'll feel it. A quiet authority that demands respect without asking for it. Now let's talk about stillness. In a world that glorifies constant motion and noise, there's immense power in being still. Stillness isn't laziness, it's control. It's the ability to pause, breathe, and center yourself even in chaos. When you're calm and composed, you exude a sense of stability that draws people in. Men, like everyone else, are drawn to those who seem unshaken by the storms of life. They're attracted to women who know how to hold their ground, who radiate peace instead of panic. Stillness communicates strength because it says, I trust myself enough to handle whatever comes next. And then there's the art of eye contact. Your eyes are windows to your soul. And when you look someone in the eye, you create a connection that transcends words. Eye contact signals confidence, honesty, and engagement. It tells the other person, I see you, and I'm here. But here's the key. Meaningful eye contact isn't about staring. It's about softening. It's about allowing vulnerability to shine through while maintaining your composure. When you meet someone's gaze with warmth and assurance, you break down barriers and build trust almost instantly. That kind of connection leaves a lasting impression. Let's also address the role of movement. How you move through space matters more than you think. Graceful movements, whether it's walking across a room, reaching for something, or simply adjusting your posture, communicate elegance and poise. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to be mindful. Pay attention to how you sit, stand, and interact with your environment. Are you rushed and scattered, or are you deliberate and grounded? Small adjustments can make a big difference. When you move with intention, you project an aura of confidence that others naturally gravitate toward. Here's the deeper truth. Mastering your body language isn't about manipulating how others perceive you. It's about empowering yourself. Every time you stand taller, breathe deeper, or soften your gaze, you remind yourself of your worth. You reinforce the belief that you deserve to take up space, to be seen, to be heard. And as that belief grows stronger, so does your impact on the world. People begin to mirror your energy, responding to the calmness, clarity, and conviction you bring into every interaction. So as you continue on this journey of self-discovery, remember this. Your presence is your superpower. It's the invisible thread that ties together everything we've talked about. Confidence, authenticity, resilience, intelligence, all expressed without saying a single word. When you learn to harness the power of your body language, you become unforgettable. Not because you're trying to impress, but because you're simply being you. Fully, boldly, unapologetically you. Keep going, because the best version of yourself is waiting to step into the spotlight. Society has spent centuries telling women how they should look, act, and live. But here's the truth. Those rules were never meant to serve you. They were designed to confine you, to shrink your dreams into boxes too small to hold your potential. But what happens when you refuse to fit? When you step outside those narrow expectations and declare, "This is who I am, and I will not apologize for it," something incredible happens. You become unstoppable. And men, they don't just notice, they admire. Because there's nothing more captivating than a woman who knows her worth and refuses to settle for anything less. Think about the weight of societal pressures, the unspoken standards that dictate everything from the way you dress to the way you speak. For years, you may have tried to mold yourself into those ideals, chasing approval and validation. But here's the secret. No matter how hard you try, you'll never truly belong in a world built on limitations. The moment you stop seeking permission to exist as your authentic self is the moment you claim your freedom. You begin to see that the opinions of others lose their power when you're rooted in your own truth. This realization doesn't just change how you carry yourself, it changes how the world responds to you. Now, let's talk about rebellion. Not the kind that tears things down, but the kind that builds something better. Breaking free from societal norms isn't about rejecting everything, it's about redefining what matters. It's choosing to value your happiness over perfection, your peace over pleasing others, your voice over silence. When you prioritize what truly fulfills you, you create a life that reflects your deepest desires, not someone else's expectation. And here's the beautiful part. This courage inspires others. Men are drawn to women who lead with conviction, who aren't afraid to challenge the status quo and carve their own path. Your boldness gives them permission to do the same. But breaking free isn't always easy. There will be moments when doubt creeps in, when the fear of judgment feels heavier than the chains you're trying to break. That's okay. Growth rarely happens without resistance. What matters is how you respond. Do you let fear dictate your choices, or do you rise above it? Every time you choose authenticity over conformity, you strengthen your resolve. You prove to yourself and to the world that you are more than enough, exactly as you are. Let's also acknowledge this. Rejecting societal expectations doesn't mean isolating yourself from the world. It means creating space for relationships and experiences that align with your values. When you stop trying to fit into molds that weren't made for you, you attract people who appreciate you for who you are, not who they want you to be. These connections are deeper, richer, and far more meaningful because they're built on truth, not pretense. And isn't that what we all crave? To be seen, loved, and valued for our authentic selves? Here's the most empowering part. When you redefine your standards, you rewrite the narrative, not just for yourself, but for future generations. Every time you stand firm in your beliefs, every time you embrace your individuality, you pave the way for other women to do the same. You remind them that they don't have to play by rules that were never fair to begin with. That legacy is priceless. It's bigger than any title, accomplishment, or external validation. It's the mark of a woman who refused to be tamed, who chose instead to roar. So, as you continue this journey of liberation, remember this. You don't need anyone else's blueprint to build your life. You are the architect of your destiny, the author of your story. When you let go of societal expectations and start living on your terms, you unlock a version of yourself that's limitless, fearless, and extraordinary. Keep going, because the world is waiting to witness the masterpiece only you can create. Growth is the quiet force that changes everything, even when no one is watching. It's the invisible thread that connects every challenge you've overcome, every lesson you've learned, and every dream you've dared to chase. When you commit to becoming better, just 1% better each day, you create a ripple effect that touches every corner of your life. And here's the truth. Men notice this transformation long before you realize it yourself. They see the way growth reshapes your energy, your confidence, and your presence. Because personal growth isn't just about improving yourself, it's about elevating the way the world sees you and interacts with you. Think about the moments in your life when you felt the most alive. The times when you pushed past fear, embraced discomfort, or took a leap of faith. Those moments didn't just change you, they changed how others responded to you. Growth has a way of doing that. When you invest in yourself, you signal to the world that you're serious about your journey. You show up differently, not because you're trying to impress anyone, but because growth transforms you from the inside out. It sharpens your mind, strengthens your spirit, and softens your heart. These shifts may feel subtle to you, but they radiate outward, drawing people toward your light. Now let's talk about the power of small wins. Too often we get caught up in chasing big milestones, believing that success only counts if it's monumental. But real growth happens in the details, in the daily choices to read one more page, take one more step, or try one more time. These tiny victories add up, creating momentum that propels you forward. And here's the magic. Men are drawn to this consistency. They admire women who refuse to settle for stagnation, who wake up every day determined to be better than they were yesterday. Growth signals potential, and potential is magnetic. It inspires others to believe in you, and more importantly, to believe in themselves. But growth isn't always glamorous. It requires patience, persistence, and the willingness to face setbacks without losing sight of your vision. There will be days when progress feels slow, when the weight of the journey threatens to pull you under. That's part of the process. Growth doesn't happen in straight lines. It happens in spirals, loops, and sometimes detours. What matters isn't how fast you move, it's that you keep moving. Every step forward, no matter how small, brings you closer to the person you're meant to become. And when you embrace this mindset, you inspire those around you to do the same. Let's also acknowledge this. Growth isn't just about achieving goals. It's about expanding your perspective. The more you learn, the more you realize how much there is to discover. This hunger for knowledge, this insatiable curiosity, is what sets extraordinary women apart. When you approach life with an open mind and a willingness to evolve, you create opportunities for connection, innovation, and impact. Men notice this depth because it challenges them to think bigger, dream bolder, and grow alongside you. Growth becomes a shared journey, a bond that transcends surface-level interactions. And then there's the beauty of resilience. Growth teaches you how to fall, and more importantly, how to rise again. It shows you that failure isn't the end, it's feedback. Every stumble is a lesson, every obstacle a teacher. When you view challenges through this lens, you stop fearing them and start embracing them as stepping stones to greatness. This resilience doesn't just transform you, it transforms how others see you. They recognize the strength it takes to keep going, the courage it takes to keep believing, and the grace it takes to keep growing. That kind of determination leaves a lasting impression. Here's the deeper truth. When you prioritize personal growth, you shift the narrative of your life. You stop waiting for external validation and start seeking fulfillment from within. You begin to understand that your worth isn't tied to achievements or accolades. It's rooted in the effort, the intention, and the love you pour into becoming your best self. And when you embody this belief, you inspire others to do the same. Growth becomes contagious, spreading to everyone lucky enough to cross your path. So, as you continue this journey of transformation, remember this: growth isn't a destination, it's a way of life. It's the commitment to never stop learning, never stop evolving, and never stop reaching for more. When you embrace this mindset, you unlock a version of yourself that's limitless, radiant, and unforgettable. Keep going, because the best parts of your story are still unwritten, and the world is waiting to witness the masterpiece you're creating. Belief begins within you. It's the quiet voice that whispers you are enough, even when the world feels loud and uncertain. Everything you've built, every step you've taken toward growth, authenticity, and strength, all of it starts with how you see yourself. Men may notice your confidence, your kindness, or your resilience, but none of it matters if you don't first believe in your own worth. The truth is, no amount of external validation can replace the power of self-belief. When you trust yourself, truly, deeply trust yourself, you become unstoppable. And that energy, it radiates outward, touching everyone around you. Think about the women who inspire you most, the ones who seem to glow from the inside out. What sets them apart isn't their achievements or appearance. It's the unshakable faith they have in themselves. They don't wait for others to tell them they're capable. They already know it. They don't seek permission to chase their dreams. They give it to themselves. This kind of self-belief transforms not just how you show up in the world, but how the world responds to you. People respect what you refuse to compromise on, admire what you stand for, and gravitate toward the certainty you carry within you. Believing in yourself isn't selfish, it's essential. But here's the hard part. Self-belief doesn't come naturally to everyone. For many women, years of doubt, comparison, and criticism can make it feel almost impossible to trust your own voice. You might question whether you're smart enough, strong enough, or worthy enough. Yet, here's the secret. Belief isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. Every time you choose action over fear, courage over comfort, or love over judgment, you reinforce the foundation of your self-worth. It's like planting seeds in a garden. At first, nothing seems to change, but over time, with care and consistency, those seeds grow into something breathtakingly beautiful. That's what happens when you nurture your belief in yourself. Now, let's talk about boundaries. A crucial piece of self-belief that often gets overlooked. Setting boundaries isn't about shutting people out. It's about honoring your needs, protecting your peace, and valuing your time. When you say no to things that drain you, you create space to say yes to what truly fulfills you. And here's the remarkable part. Men notice this clarity. They see the woman who knows her limits, who refuses to be taken for granted, and who prioritizes her well-being without apology. Boundaries communicate strength because they signal that you respect yourself. And when you respect yourself, others will too. Let's also address the role of intuition. Your inner voice, the one that nudges you toward truth and away from trouble, is one of your greatest assets. Too often, we dismiss our instincts in favor of logic or societal expectations. But here's the reality. Your intuition knows more than you realize. It's shaped by years of experience, lessons learned, and emotions processed. When you learn to trust it, you tap into a source of wisdom that guides you toward decisions aligned with your highest good. Men admire this kind of clarity because it signals confidence and decisiveness. Intuition paired with self-belief creates an unshakable force that draws people in and earns their respect. And then there's the beauty of self-compassion. Believing in yourself doesn't mean being perfect. It means embracing imperfection with grace. There will be days when you stumble, when you doubt, when you feel like giving up. On those days, remember this: progress isn't erased by setbacks. Growth isn't derailed by mistakes. What matters is how you treat yourself during these moments. Do you criticize yourself relentlessly, or do you offer the same kindness you'd give a friend? Self-compassion strengthens your belief because it reminds you that you're human, and that humanity is your greatest strength. When you forgive yourself, you create room to rise again. Here's the deeper truth. Believing in yourself changes the game. Not just for you, but for everyone around you. When you walk into a room knowing your worth, you challenge others to recognize theirs. When you speak with conviction, you inspire others to find their own voice. When you live boldly, you encourage others to dream bigger. Self-belief isn't just personal, it's contagious. It spreads through relationships, communities, and even generations, leaving a legacy of empowerment in its wake. So as you continue this journey of becoming, remember this: the foundation of everything you want to achieve starts with you. No one else gets to define your value, you do. No one else gets to decide your potential, you do. When you root yourself in self-belief, you unlock a reservoir of strength, joy, and possibility that nothing can take away. Keep going, because the moment you fully embrace your worth, the world will have no choice but to follow suit. Life is a collection of moments, but not all moments are created equal. Some pass by in a blur, unnoticed and unremarkable. Others, they leave an imprint, a spark that ignites something deeper within you. And here's the truth: the moments that matter most aren't the ones where everything goes perfectly. They're the ones where you rise despite imperfection, where you shine even when the odds are stacked against you. These are the moments men remember, the ones they admire most about you. Because when you show up fully, embracing both your brilliance and your humanity, you create memories that linger long after the moment has passed. Think about the times you've felt truly alive, the kind of alive that makes your heart race and your soul sing. Maybe it was standing on stage for the first time, speaking your truth to a room full of strangers. Or maybe it was simply choosing to laugh instead of cry when life handed you its toughest lessons. In those moments, you weren't trying to prove anything to anyone. You were simply being you, raw, real, unfiltered. And yet, those moments have a way of leaving a mark, not just on you, but on everyone who witnesses them. Men are drawn to this authenticity because it reminds them of what it means to be courageous, to live boldly, to embrace the beauty of being human. Now, let's talk about courage, not the kind that roars, but the kind that whispers. Courage isn't always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet and steady, like choosing to stay hopeful when hope feels out of reach. It's deciding to take one more step when every fiber of your being wants to stop. It's trusting yourself enough to keep going even when the path ahead is unclear. These acts of bravery may seem small to you, but they ripple outward, shaping how others see you. Men notice this quiet determination because it signals resilience. It tells them that you're someone who can weather storms without losing sight of the sun. But here's the thing about courage: it doesn't erase fear. It coexists with it. Courage is choosing to move forward anyway, even when your hands are trembling and your heart is pounding. It's understanding that fear isn't the enemy. It's the signal that growth is near. Every time you face fear head on, you teach yourself a powerful lesson. You are stronger than you think. This realization doesn't just transform you. They see the woman who refuses to shrink, who meets challenges with grace and grit, and who carries herself with a quiet confidence that says, "I've got this." Let's also acknowledge this: the moments that define you aren't always the ones you plan for. Sometimes they happen unexpectedly, catching you off guard in the best possible way. A spontaneous decision to try something new, a heartfelt conversation that changes your perspective, a simple act of kindness that turns someone's day around. These unplanned moments remind you that life isn't about control. It's about connection. When you lean into these experiences, you create opportunities for magic to happen. Men are drawn to this spontaneity because it signals openness, curiosity, and a willingness to embrace life's unpredictability. And then there's the power of celebration. So often we rush through milestones, brushing them aside as if they're no big deal. But here's the truth: celebrating your wins, big or small, isn't arrogant. It's necessary. It's how you honor your journey, how you remind yourself of how far you've come. When you take a moment to celebrate, you invite others to join in your joy. They see the pride in your eyes, the gratitude in your smile, and the lightness in your spirit. These moments of celebration become touchstones, reminders of what's possible when you dare to dream and work toward it. Here's the deeper truth: the moments that matter most are the ones where you choose to be present. Not perfect, not polished, just present. When you stop chasing perfection and start embracing the messy, beautiful reality of life, you unlock a level of connection that words can't describe. You inspire others to do the same, creating a ripple effect of authenticity and courage. These moments don't just shape your story, they shape the stories of everyone lucky enough to witness them. So, as you continue this journey of becoming, remember this. The moments that define you aren't measured by applause or accolades. They're measured by the depth of your presence, the strength of your courage, and the authenticity of your spirit. When you show up fully, embracing both your light and your shadows, you create moments that leave a lasting legacy. Keep going, because the world is waiting to witness the extraordinary impact only you can make. You've spent so much of your life seeking approval, waiting for someone else to validate your worth, to tell you that you're good enough, smart enough, beautiful enough. But here's the truth that will set you free. You don't need anyone's permission to be extraordinary. The moment you stop looking outside yourself for validation is the moment you step into your power. And men, they don't just notice, they are in awe. Because nothing is more captivating than a woman who knows her value and refuses to settle for anything less than she deserves. Think about the energy you've wasted chasing external validation. The hours spent second-guessing yourself, trying to fit into boxes that were never meant for you, or bending over backward to please others. What if you took all that energy and redirected it inward? What if you used it to fuel your dreams, to honor your needs, to remind yourself daily that you are already whole? When you stop seeking approval from others, something incredible happens. You become magnetic. You radiate a quiet confidence that says, I am enough, exactly as I am. And that energy, it commands respect. It draws people toward you not because you're trying to impress them, but because they can feel the depth of your self-assurance. Now let's talk about boundaries again, but this time through the lens of self-gradation. Setting boundaries isn't just about protecting your time or energy, it's about declaring your worth without apology. When you say no to things that don't align with your values, you create space for what truly matters. You teach others how to treat you by showing them that your peace, your happiness, and your well-being come first. Men notice this clarity. They admire women who know their limits, who refuse to be taken for granted, and who prioritize themselves without guilt. Self-explanation isn't selfish, it's survival. It's the foundation upon which everything else is built. But here's the deeper layer. When you validate yourself, you rewrite the rules of your reality. For so long, you may have believed that your worth was tied to external achievements, your appearance, your career, your relationships. But true validation comes from within. It's the understanding that you are inherently worthy simply because you exist. This shift changes everything. When you internalize this belief, you stop living for applause and start living for purpose. You begin making choices based on what fulfills you, not what pleases others. And here's the magic. The more you align with your truth, the more the world aligns with you. Let's also address the fear of rejection, a common barrier to self-defense. For years, you may have avoided standing in your truth because you were afraid of being dismissed, criticized, or left behind. But here's the irony. When you stop fearing rejection, you become unstoppable. Rejection isn't a reflection of your worth, it's a redirection. It shows you who and what doesn't belong in your life, clearing the way for what does. When you embrace this mindset, you stop shrinking yourself to fit into spaces that weren't designed for you. Instead, you create your own space, one where you are celebrated, not tolerated. And then there's the beauty of independence, not financial or physical independence. Emotional independence means owning your feelings, your decisions, and your journey without needing someone else's stamp of approval. It means taking full responsibility for your happiness instead of handing that power over to others. When you embody this kind of independence, you inspire those around you to do the same. Men are drawn to women who lead with strength, who aren't afraid to stand alone if it means staying true to themselves. Emotional independence signals maturity, resilience, and a deep sense of self-awareness, all qualities that leave a lasting impression. Here's the deeper truth. When you stop seeking approval, you reclaim your freedom. Freedom to live authentically, to pursue your passions, to love deeply and unapologetically. You realize that the opinions of others hold no weight unless you give them permission to. And when you release that burden, you unlock a level of peace and confidence that transforms every area of your life. People respond differently to you, not because you've changed who you are, but because you've changed how you see yourself. Validation from within amplifies your presence, making you unforgettable. So as you continue this journey of empowerment, remember this: your worth isn't up for negotiation. You don't need anyone's approval to shine brightly, to take up space, to dream boldly. When you choose to validate yourself, you send a message to the universe and to everyone around you that you are here to thrive, not just survive. Keep going, because the most extraordinary version of yourself is waiting to emerge. And trust me, the world won't be able to look away. There's a moment in every journey, a quiet, almost imperceptible shift, when you realize that the answers you've been searching for were inside you all along. It's not a lightning bolt or a grand revelation, it's more like a gentle awakening, a whisper from your soul saying, you already have everything you need. This is the moment where transformation truly begins. And here's the truth: men notice this shift in you, even if they can't put it into words. They see the woman who has stopped looking outward for guidance and started trusting her own compass. That kind of self-trust is magnetic. It draws people in because it radiates clarity, purpose, and undeniable strength. Think about the times you've doubted yourself, questioning whether you were capable, worthy, or ready. You may have sought advice, validation, or reassurance from others, hoping they'd tell you what to do or how to feel. But deep down, you always knew the answer. The wisdom was there, buried beneath layers of fear and uncertainty. When you finally tap into that inner knowing, something remarkable happens. You stop waiting for permission to move forward. You stop needing someone else to light the path because you've become the light yourself. This self-reliance doesn't just change you. Men are drawn to women who lead with conviction, who trust their instincts and navigate life with quiet certainty. Now let's talk about resilience, not as a reaction to hardship, but as a way of being. Resilience isn't just about bouncing back from challenges. It's about moving through them with grace and grit, knowing that every experience shapes you into someone stronger, wiser, and more radiant. When you embrace resilience as a mindset, you begin to see obstacles not as roadblocks, but as stepping stones. Each challenge becomes an opportunity to prove to yourself just how capable you are. And here's the powerful part: men admire this resilience. They're inspired by women who refuse to be defined by setbacks, who rise above adversity with unwavering determination. Your ability to persevere speaks volumes about your character, and it leaves a lasting impression. But resilience isn't built overnight. It's cultivated through small, consistent acts of courage. The decision to keep going when quitting feels easier, to choose hope when despair knocks at your door, to believe in yourself when doubt threatens to take over. These moments may seem insignificant in the moment, but they add up to something extraordinary. Every time you choose resilience, you reinforce your belief in your own strength. You remind yourself that you are capable of handling whatever comes your way. And when you embody this belief, others can't. As she sat watching the world go by, something caught her eye. It wasn't so much its color or shape, but the way it was moving. She squinted to see if she could better understand what it was and where it was going, but it didn't help. As she continued to stare into the distance, she didn't understand why this uneasiness was building inside her body. Help but notice. They see the steadiness in your eyes, the calmness in your voice, the unshakable faith you have in your ability to thrive. Let's also acknowledge this: resilience isn't about doing it alone. It's about knowing when to lean on others, when to ask for help, and when to rest. True strength lies in recognizing that vulnerability and resilience go hand in hand. When you allow yourself to be supported without losing sight of your own power, you create a balance that inspires those around you. Men are drawn to this balance because it signals emotional intelligence and maturity. They admire women who know how to hold space for both strength and softness, who understand that resilience isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. And then there's the beauty of perspective. Resilience teaches you to reframe your story, to see challenges as chapters rather than conclusions. It reminds you that every low point is temporary, every struggle has a lesson, and every setback sets the stage for a comeback. When you adopt this mindset, you stop fearing failure because you know it's not the end, it's part of the process. This perspective doesn't just empower you, it uplifts everyone around you. People are inspired by your optimism, your ability to find silver linings, and your unwavering belief that better days are ahead. Here's the deeper truth. Resilience transforms not just how you face challenges, but how you celebrate victories. When you overcome obstacles, big or small, you carry that triumph with you. It becomes a reminder of your strength, a testament to your perseverance. These moments of victory aren't just personal. They ripple outward, touching the lives of those around you. Men notice this resilience because it signals that you're someone who can weather storms and still shine. You become a beacon of hope, a living example of what's possible when you refuse to give up. So as you continue this journey of growth and transformation, remember this. Resilience isn't something you're born with, it's something you build, choice by choice, day by day. It's the quiet determination to keep moving forward, even when the path is unclear. When you embrace resilience, you unlock a version of yourself that's unstoppable, unshakable, and unforgettable. Keep going, because the world is waiting to witness the incredible impact of your unwavering spirit. There's a quote that says, "The most powerful thing you can do is believe in yourself when no one else does." Let those words sink in for a moment. Think about the women who have walked this earth, women who defied odds, shattered ceilings, and rewrote history. What set them apart wasn't talent, luck, or privilege. It was belief. Belief so fierce, so unrelenting, that it carried them through storms they couldn't see the end of. And here's the truth. That same power lives within you. It's been there all along, waiting for you to claim it. When you choose to harness it, you become unstoppable. Men don't just admire that kind of belief, they are moved by it, because it reminds them of what's possible when someone refuses to give up on themselves. Let's talk about legacy. Not the kind written in stone or celebrated with awards, but the kind etched into hearts and minds. Legacy isn't something you leave behind. It's something you build every single day through your actions, your choices, and your presence. Every time you show up authentically, every time you rise despite fear, every time you extend kindness even when it's hard, you're creating ripples that extend far beyond your immediate circle. These moments may feel small to you, but they shape how others experience you. They inspire people to dream bigger, live bolder, and believe more deeply in their own potential. Men notice this impact because it challenges them to reflect on their own lives. Your courage becomes a mirror, showing them what's possible when you refuse to settle. Now, let's consider the beauty of intentionality. Life moves fast, pulling us in countless directions, often leaving us feeling scattered and disconnected. But when you pause and ask yourself, what matters most right now, you reclaim control over your narrative. Intentionality is the art of aligning your actions with your values, of saying yes to what fuels your soul and no to what drains it. It's about living deliberately instead of drifting aimlessly. When you embrace this mindset, you send a clear message to the world and to yourself that your time, energy, and heart are precious. Men are drawn to this clarity because it signals purpose. They admire women who know where they're going, even if the path isn't perfectly mapped out yet. But here's the deeper layer. Intentionality isn't just about big decisions. It's about the little ones too. The way you greet each morning, the way you speak to yourself, the way you treat others. These small, seemingly insignificant acts add up to something extraordinary. They create a life that feels rich, meaningful, and aligned. When you approach life with intention, you stop chasing external validation and start cultivating internal fulfillment. You begin to understand that success isn't measured by applause or accolades. It's measured by peace, joy, and the impact you have on those around you. This shift doesn't just transform you. It transforms how others respond to you. They see the light in your eyes, the conviction in your voice, and the love in your actions. And then there's the power of gratitude, a force so simple yet so profound. Gratitude doesn't erase pain or hardship, but it reframes them. It teaches you to find beauty in the broken pieces, strength in the struggles, and lessons in the losses. When you practice gratitude, you train your mind to focus on abundance rather than lack. You start seeing opportunities instead of obstacles, blessings instead of burdens. This perspective not only changes how you navigate life, but also how others perceive you. Men are drawn to women who radiate positivity, who carry themselves with grace and optimism, and who inspire others to see the good in their own lives. Gratitude magnifies your presence, making you unforgettable. Here's the deeper truth. When you combine belief, legacy, intentionality, and gratitude, you unlock a version of yourself that's limitless. You stop waiting for the perfect moment and start creating it. You stop seeking approval and start giving permission to yourself, to others, to the world, to shine brighter, dream bigger, and love deeper. This transformation isn't just personal, it's universal. It touches everyone lucky enough to cross your path, leaving an indelible mark that lingers long after the moment has passed. There's a stillness that comes when you finally understand this. The world doesn't need you to be anyone other than who you are. It doesn't need another version of someone else. It needs you, fully, unapologetically, uniquely you. This realization is like coming home after years of wandering. It's the quiet knowing that your worth isn't tied to comparison, competition, or conformity. When you embrace this truth, something extraordinary happens. You stop chasing shadows and start casting light. And men, they don't just notice, they are captivated. Because nothing shines brighter than a woman who has made peace with herself. Let's talk about freedom. The kind that comes from releasing the weight of expectation. For so long, you may have carried the burden of trying to fit into molds that were never designed for you. You've bent yourself out of shape, hoping to meet standards that weren't yours to begin with. But here's the secret. True freedom isn't found in meeting those standards. It's found in letting them go. When you release the need to prove yourself, you create space to simply be. This liberation changes everything. Your energy shifts, your presence deepens, and your confidence becomes undeniable. Men are drawn to this freedom because it signals authenticity. They admire women who refuse to shrink themselves, who choose instead to expand into their fullest potential. Now let's explore the concept of alignment, not as an endpoint, but as a process. Alignment means living in harmony with your values, passions, and purpose. It's the sweet spot where what you do matches who you are. When you align your life with what sets your soul on fire, you unlock a level of fulfillment that can't be replicated. Every action feels intentional, every decision feels right, and every moment feels meaningful. This clarity doesn't just transform you, it transforms how others experience you. Men notice this alignment because it radiates through your words, your actions, and your energy. They see a woman who knows her why and moves through the world with purpose. But alignment doesn't happen overnight. It requires reflection, honesty, and courage. It asks you to confront fears, rewrite old stories, and step into discomfort. Yet each step forward brings you closer to the life you're meant to live. Every time you choose alignment over compromise, you strengthen your connection to yourself. You remind yourself that you deserve a life that reflects your dreams, not your doubts. And when you embody this belief, others can't help but take notice. They see the conviction in your choices, the joy in your spirit, and the unwavering commitment to living authentically. Let's also acknowledge the power of surrender, not giving up, but letting go. Letting go of control, perfectionism, and the illusion that you have to have everything figured out. Life is messy, unpredictable, and beautifully imperfect, and so are you. When you surrender to this reality, you open yourself to infinite possibilities. You